may have noticed that our Sony reptilian overlords give us crumbs to chew on. They don't let us sit at the dinner table, but they allow us little things, hey, do you want a little cinnamon on your day-old bread? It's a bagel. Those are still good. Today we have 5 losers, desperate losers, seeking Sony intelligence, and we will talk about it today for mankind. Welcome.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So it's going to be a bit of a strange episode. I saved 5 questions that were all seeming to be about Sony because we're all brainwashed sheep and we're in the Sony universe. We're on the ZV-E1 with the Zeiss 55mm 1.8 in auto framing mode, and I'm just going to see what happens. See if Sony chooses to autofocus on me. Will you track me through this? Oh God, what is that? A grasshopper? Are you gonna jump at me? Oh God, oh, there's so many alive things here. Why? Oh God, why don't you? At 1504, what kind of settings do you use to make sure you're in focus and exposed correctly on your Sony? Let's see if that happens. So right now we're in auto, but there's many different things I do for Sony exposure. If I'm at home in a studio, what I will do is put everything in manual. I have zebras. If I'm in S-Log 3, I set them, I think it's 56 plus 3, and then I adjust my lights until they disappear on my face. Boom, skin tones exposed. If I'm out here and vlogging, I'm in aperture priority mode with +1 exposure comp, because S-Log 3 likes to be brought up a little bit. You good with that, Sony? Do you mind that I did that? I hope not. So it very much depends. I depend on zebras, but then when I'm out here, what's the zebras 90 feet away from the camera? No idea. So I'm in auto with the +1. And then we're also auto framing, whatever the hell that's doing to us and for us. Does it keep zooming? It's actually one of my biggest weaknesses to expose an image properly, because not only do I not know the exact exposure of the face, what it should be, I just watch tutorials and I get there somehow, but it's also really hard to see from far away, so I can't judge it. When I'm on my Blackmagic, I also do a 70% zebra and wait for it to disappear on my face, but I have it connected to a big monitor. So when I'm out here on the Blackmagic OG, I set it to 100% and just try not to clip the sky and hope to God that my skin tones are good enough for that moment. And they never are. But for Nikon, the zebras are hard to see, so I never know what the hell, and their numbers are different. I still haven't learned those. It's hard. It's a hard game. And for focus, hopefully Sony's doing it. This is the test, because this is a Zeiss lens, and my A7S III would go haywire. You've seen it. You've seen it out here. So let's see what Sony ZV-E1 does. If you could buy a new ZV-E1 for $1,700 or a new A7S III for $2,975, which would you get in 2024? Oh man, that is hilarious. Even if those prices were reversed, I would be debating the ZV-E1. It's that much better. So as you know, I have finally sold it. Thank you, my friend, for buying that. It's a great camera. A7S III was the perfect camera. I didn't know Sony was gonna make it even better, put more fun modes in, and then shrink the size and the cost. And people are saying oh, it overheats, bro. Let's see it. It's a heat wave. I've been filming for 3 weeks in a heat wave every day, 4K 24p long form content. We'll see what happens with that, but I'm not thinking it's ever going to overheat. Today might be the first day. I wish I had the white body, if I was being honest with you. There's your best chance of it not overheating, but beggars can't be choosers. That was a warehouse deal. We got it. I will switch out of this bullshit auto framing mode soon, but I'm not ready for that. Track me, Sony, forever. But the debate, there is no debate. ZV-E1 destroys the A7S III. Just better autofocus, maybe, depending on this video. More fun, smaller, cheaper, lighter, faster. The only advantage for the A7S III, I think, in just regular active stab, I feel like it was more stable than this. I don't know if that's just due to the light weight of the body, and it's, oh my God. Usually the lighter the camera, the more shaky it is, so that could be a factor, but then you get the dynamic stay boost, and then it's way more smooth. So 100% go for the ZV-E1 unless you're doing wildlife. Then you might have something there. EVF, if I was even doing macro, like I sold the macro lens. I was like, I'm on the ZV-E1 now. I have no viewfinder. I'll probably get a macro for Nikon or something if I want macro. I don't know, man. It was probably a bad choice, but do you still have me, Sony? Ow. I have no idea if it has me anymore, but that's the only thing. If you're doing wildlife, you got your viewfinder, cool. For every other form of video, you do not need a viewfinder. Sunny weather mode on the monitor, boom, you see everything. Okay, next loser coming up, checking if Sony is still tracking me. I stepped on a goat. Do you have me, Son? It's unlikely. It's unfrickin' lucky. Likey dicky. I'll leave. Okay, now we're in full frame. We're just relaxing here. No need to call the cops. Why do you expect new tech and or top specs from a $1,000 camera? I expect someone to try when they're trying to win my love. I just want your best effort put forth, and then I'll look in your direction, make your mother proud, and then I might buy your product. That's all I'm asking for. I'm just asking, can something be done that's inspiring? He's talking about the ZV-E, and that's not a camera model. Oh, there's people coming into my shot. Hello. You still have me, Son? Did you latch onto them? I swear if they stole my focal point. So ZV-E10, I wasn't expecting it to destroy my ZV-E1 or anything, but I'm just telling you what it doesn't have, what the competition has, its flaws, its potential use case downsides. That's all I do. I search for flaws. I'm here to perfect things. If you have an idea and you brought it to my desk, it would leave here a much better thing than whatever the hell broken garbage you brought to me. Also, more generally, how many vloggers do you see using slow-mo? I don't follow. Listen, buddy, I know the road you're walking down. You tread carefully. I don't care about the TikTok generation that can't think for themselves and they don't know what anything is. And 4K 60, bro. XT3, right? They did that already. Like, we're moving on. I do my slow motion street videography stuff. You can't get that in 60 frames per second. Nothing works. It's just going to be a moment that whizzes by you. But when you have this beautiful woman walking past you and she flings her hair at you somehow, and it's like you capture that moment in the slowest possible. So it's like 60 frames per second, that's a joke. We've moved past that. And I don't care what anyone else is doing. I care about what I'm doing. I have fun the slower the slow-mo. I don't follow many, but you're the only one who ever cares about more than 60 frames per second. Good. I don't mind setting trends, and then you sheep can follow me if you want. I'm heading this way to Funtown. Funtown's right there. I can see the sign. Do you guys want to come, or do you want to stay over there at 60 frames per second, raining town where there's no food, and you're sleeping under a frickin' broken tree, and the leaves are dripping on you? You want that life? Or do you want to come to a new possibility where fun exists? Funtown. You coming? It's the same sensor from the A6700, but if you look at Gerald's review, you'll see it can barely do 4K 60 in a non-air conditioned environment. The body's tiny. It would overheat pretty much instantly doing anything more than that. That's why I say make the body a little bigger then. I'm not the one forcing Sony to cram it into a smartphone here. They're the ones that have always been obsessed with size, and that's always come back to bite them. How many times have a camera of theirs been released and then it's like, it's overheating, this damn tiny grip. The lenses are like bashing my knuckles because the grip is so small. We don't need the tiniest thing. It is fun. I'll be honest with you, this ZV-E1, it's a tiny little guy, but it's big enough. And it does the stuff we're doing. 4K, 10 bits. All of them, 422s of the 10 bits. They're in here. Is the autofocus keeping up with me? Has there been any glitches? Because it could happen at any moment. There could be a snake in here. Why wouldn't there be a snake? Did it get me? Are you with me? Is everything in focus except me? That's the bitch. Okay, so we're done with this hobo. If I wanted to follow the crowd, I'd be eating fast food. I'd wear a Halloween mask every day on the bus, and I'd be asking for, when's my 9th injection? Is it ready yet? No, thank you. You have that fun with your fun times, but I'll be in Fun Town if you don't mind. I added another 15 video watches since the last post. I was sick yesterday and was bored, so I'm up to 274 watches, including 17 vegetable police videos. Thank you, my friend. I love when I find a new channel, I just binge them. It's like, oh, this guy's cool. Who would have? I just found a guy, what's his name? Nero Knowledge or something. He is my black guru, and he has knowledge that far surpasses anything you've ever heard. I've learned so much from him just watching for the past week. I'm just like soaking it up. So I love when I find new channels, and I'm so glad that I'm that guy for you, and you're learning so much here. Could you please tell me your top 10 Sony lenses of all time, even if you don't currently own them? Wow. I would have to tell you that not one of them will be an actual Sony lens. Just throwing that warning out there. It's up to you to heed the warning. Sony doesn't make good lenses. They don't know how. It's just sharp, clinical, heavy, super expensive. They have the most overpriced lenses I've ever seen, I think. Like even their basic 24mm prime, it's like, what? How? And the 40mm compared to the Viltrox I just reviewed, like 3 times the cost for what? What could you possibly be gaining on that Sony? Absolutely nothing. It's bad. So top 10 for me? Okay, here we are. Zeiss Batis 18mm 2.8 for vlogs. It's just, it has that Zeiss pop. There's not much, and the stab's good enough in dynamic. It's not perfect. There's the odd jerk, but it's like, you don't need to be floating in the sky. Like movement happens. In fact, my X3000, it's not super stable. There's always some movement, but it looks natural. It's just like natural movement. I don't mind that at all. This dynamic stave is not natural at all, but it's stable enough. So that one, the Zeiss Batis 25mm Tony 2 for the studio, I love that lens. I picked it over the G Master. G Master is glass, garbage glass. Well, this is rude. Would you look at that? What if I came to your work and just walked past your computer screen and said, I think I'll go for a run here. Do you mind? I did. So I would have to add the Voigtlander 35mm 1.2 to that list. It's just a legendary lens. Is it like the most versatile? It's manual focus only. It's kind of annoying. Not even my favorite focal length. Would I sell it in a heartbeat if Flat Earth Santa gave me his blessing? I would. In fact, I like that Zeiss 35mm 2.8. I'm kind of devastated that I sold that. I thought, like, when would I ever need that? But like with the ZVE1, that would pair beautifully for street. Like you can't get lighter than that. Oh my God, what was that? Grasshopper? Did you see it? You didn't? Zeiss 55, we're on it right now, 1.8. That's 4 lenses already? I don't have a ton of like, oh man, you got to get into Sony for these lenses. Like really very simple life here. 18, 25, and 55 is all I really own now for manual focus. And then the 35, it's like a specialty lens if I want to annoy myself and manually focus. It's a pain in the bitch. But like 10 lenses? I couldn't even. Like none of them are my favorite. I stopped it down to Tony 4, removed the ND. Shutter speeds have definitely increased. But now the background is in your heart, and I bet you it's a worse shot. Sometimes I say, oh, you should stop down sometimes, bring the background in, but it always never looks better. Just it's better to just blur it out. Go to Paris, blur out the whole city, and just, you went. You believe yourself, don't you? Last question here. Hello, Casey. I like to take videos, sometimes pics as a hobby. I have a A7C and would like to get a camera with 10-bit 460. Why 10-bit? Have you fallen for the hype? It's like, oh man, the 10 bits, bro, it's gonna make all the difference. Like it'll do nothing for you. Side by side, you can't even see the difference between 12-bit and 8-bit unless you're pushing colors hard, which why would you be doing that unless you're a colorist for a movie? I hope you die in the end. 4K 120 would be a big plus. Can't decide between the FX30, A6700, or ZV-E10 Mark II. I have 3 full frame lenses, and you're buying an aps-c camera. Why? God, just the punches of sacks for you. Man, how I would love to do that virtually. Sigma, oh my God, 51.8, a Sigma 100 to 400 and a kit lens. Just burn that in a fire. Oh, sell it, put it towards better glass. Why are these your options? You sapped the energy out of my life. Why do they want such terrible things? Why not throw the ZV-E1 into the mix of that? Because in here in Canada, if I wanted to buy the FX30, it actually costs more than what I paid for this. But this was used, but new, it's more expensive than this used, and I'm full frame. Will it overheat? Has it yet? Still waiting. Still waiting on that one. If it was between those 3 though, you had to force me. God, like the FX30 is so big. It's an FX3 body, so it weighs full frame for like not a lot. Yeah, it's professional. It's never gonna overheat. And Gerald says it has the best stabe of any of them. That's cool if you're vlogging, but it's too heavy to vlog with, so you'd be better off with the ZV-1 and cropping in a dynamic stabe. A6700 is probably the sweet spot. ZV-E10 just lacks too much for not much difference. It is quite a price difference, but once you find a ZV-E10 Mark II used, you're golden. That's the one right there. No, it's not. A6700's the one. That's the one. You pick that because you're stupid enough to not buy the ZV-E1 through my affiliate links. If I made 20 cents off that purchase, I could have bought a better lens cap. But no, I have to have the generic ones. Not even a Pentax. It's a bunch of bullshit. So, you learned stuff, I do believe, and I will be leaving now, personally. Looks a little dark. That's fine. You donating Bitcoins? It crashed pretty hard. I lost $47,000. I'm okay. How are you? You doing good? How are your investments? Holding up? All right, I'll go. You subscribing for more videos? I'll see you next.